Hello everybody. In June 2021, Mark Zuckerberg, the CEO of Facebook Meta, has very famously mentioned that working remotely is actually helping him think from a long-term perspective. Yes, he did say that. And also during the same time frame, CEO of JP Morgan said that work from home won't work for bosses. Even the CEO of Goldman Sachs said directly that, hey, work from home is just an aberration and it would not stay here. You can see successful people from the corporate world have varying opinions about work from home philosophy. And now, of course, a lot of organizations are pushing the employees to come back to work. And what do you think? Where do you stand? Would you believe working from home is good for you or is it bad for you? Take 5 seconds and answer me in the comment section. In this video, I want to give you a holistic perspective of what the employers are thinking, what the employees are thinking, and also what the society at large would go through if this transition actually happens. So let's get started with the first point, that is, the work from home debate itself did not start during the COVID period. The work from home debate started way before. In 2002 itself, a group of researchers from Carnegie Mellon University have conducted the research and concluded that collaboration is actually difficult if the employees are not co-located, and co-location increases the productivity as well. This is their conclusion. Of course, over the last 20 years, technology has improved by leaps and bounds. But still, that was a perspective and that was a research report, and that indicates there was always thinking about if this should be done versus not, even in 2002. Even before the pandemic in 2019 itself, according to the US Bureau of Labor Statistics, close to 16% of the corporate employees in the US are already working from home. Yes, this is before the pandemic. That is more than 26 million people. However, now we see that a lot of companies are pushing the employees back to office. Why did this change all of a sudden? Dell recently announced that they won't consider employees working from home for promotions. Even TCS has mentioned that this is the final warning for their employees to come and work from office for cultural and privacy reasons. You can see that the pendulum has swung completely 180 degrees from where it was 2 years back. Even, of course, Mark Zuckerberg went back, and in 2023, multiple interviews he mentioned that at least folks should come to office 3 times a week so that they are together and the productivity would actually increase. Now, let's start with what is the actual impact of work from home on the employer. Why don't employers like work from home? The first point, in my opinion, is control. When the employee is not in front of the employer or the manager feels a lack of control, a lack of visibility into what the juniors are doing. Hence, the manager always wants these people to be there in front of him or her. And why do they want such control? Because they can make sure that the employees are working 200%. They're actually being given tasks which are probably even not important, just so that they are kept busy. And why is keeping busy so important? Because it would prohibit the employees from thinking long term. You can't see if something that you are doing is right or wrong for yourself. You won't question yourself too much. You are just busy going to work, coming back, sitting there, taking the assignments from your manager and just making sure that they are done at the right way. That's it, right? You won't have time to think. And that is something which is very critical for the managers and also for the companies. If you think hard, you might even leave that, hey, this is not the right opportunity for me. If you think hard, you might even ask them difficult questions. None of these things are good for the employers. So they would rather say, let's bring them to office and let's keep them busy. And if you have time, you might probably go get into a side hustle, or you might even switch the employer and go to a different employer because you are interviewing at times where you are not in front of your manager. All these things are there to make sure that the control is there over individual employees. But in my personal opinion, if somebody controls you very hard, the best next reaction from you would be to break those shackles. And unfortunately, the employers still believe that keeping employees 200% busy is the only way. There is also another aspect about this debate as well. From the employer standpoint, the companies need to make sure that there is good utilization of their long-term assets, the real estate, they need to show a certain utilization percentage for the real estate. Not just when they go and talk to the clients that, hey, our team is already working from office, so they are highly productive, but also to the governments when they are trying to get into those tax-free zones, they need to show that minimum utilization of the particular office is at least 50 to 60%. Otherwise, they don't get those tax benefits. So it is also not just about you, but also in the grand scheme of things, it would help the company themselves. Now, if you take the other end of the spectrum, where do the societies grow if this work from home is a reality? The first and the most important thing would be there would be less pressure on certain pockets of different cities. For example, in Hyderabad, the entire area around so-called high-tech city is what has developed because of this IT revolution. And if this work from home concept actually flourishes, then the city might develop equally across different parts. Similarly, in Pune, you can find multiple locations where the pockets have emerged because of IT revolution. Similarly, you go to any other city, you will find these small pockets. Now, would the city grow differently? That's a difficult question to answer, but at least there is that chance. Even tier 2 cities, tier 3 cities, where a lot of employees are now looking forward to go back to their home and work, they can also flourish because they are bringing back with them their salary and they would be spending in tier 2 towns and tier 3 towns rather than spending them in the big cities. Also, the public transportation system is completely under stress. Hopefully, there is a change in the public transportation system, and all of these things could lead to a better planet. And ultimately, even if we don't care, our next generations, that might be their biggest problem. So working from home actually could be a very good thing for the next generations for all the right reasons. Now, what do you do in this debate? The first and the most important thing is to think about your family. For me, I have 2 kids. Me being around them itself makes a lot of difference for them. I would rather prefer working from home rather than taking more salary from an employer. The second thing also, are we able to draw those lines between family and work? Is our social network itself changing because of our working preferences? This is all regarding our family and our social connections. However, there is also an implication on our careers. Number 1, are we able to communicate effectively what the employers or what our managers are looking forward to? If we are not able to communicate, then that's a big challenge. And early on in our careers, we need to communicate effectively. And the second thing, are the systems evolved enough to evaluate what you are doing at home versus not? And I personally believe this is one of the most important problems. Companies also do not have systems where they can evaluate your work from home. When you are sitting in front of somebody, it's probably much easier for them. But the systems have to be much robust. I'm not saying that they are not going to be developed in the future, but at least as of now, these systems do not exist. If you are somebody who is fresh into the corporate world, then you might want to think about these things in a much harder way. Also, the third element regarding the impact on career is, are you able to see if your overall career trajectory is impacted because of your remote work? Are you able to mitigate the negative aspects? Are you still able to go and do and learn those things by working from home? And all these things, all the impacts on your career are actually more pronounced when you are early in your career. Now, the overall perspective that I want you to leave with is, we might like or dislike working from home, but the implications are much, much broader. The implications could be for our careers, for our next generations, for our planets, and also for the societies that we live in. Thank you so much, guys. We'll see you again in the next one. Bye-bye.